Well, welcome. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Tristana Perkle. I'm the director of the School Garden Support Organization-Network, or the SGSO-Network, and we're so pleased today to be chatting all about the 2024 Growing School Garden Summit, hosted by the Sprouts Healthy Communities Foundation in partnership with LifeLab and the SGSO-Network. So we're really honored to share all the details about the summit and to offer some opportunity for Q&A for you all to learn about all the things we've got cooking up for next year, how you can get involved and join us. So I'm going to pass it off to John in just a moment, but just a couple of housekeeping items. This session is really for you all to answer, for us to answer your questions. So, can you not hear me? Can other folks hear me? Okay, cool. We'll get you some support there, Tanya, on your end. But just wanted to make sure that other folks could hear me. But just some housekeeping items. If you have questions, which is what the kind of purpose of this session is, please use the Q&A function. It should be a little, icon on your Zoom panel. So please use that to ask your questions versus the chat. The chat is a really great place to chat with each other as we kind of move through the content. But as questions come up, please put them in there and we'll be organizing them for the end. We're also recording this, so feel free to share the recording with others who are interested in the summit. We will be sharing that after the webinar is finished. So with that, I'm going to pass it off to John.
Great. Thank you, Tristana. And thanks for being here to learn about our second Growing School Garden Summit. I'm going to start like an educator. We're going to explore before we explain. I'm one of the partners from the organization LifeLab. We'll share that a little bit later. And I've also been involved with the SGSO network since its inception in 2012. So we're going to start by looking at the 2022 summit that happened in Denver. So I'm going to switch my screen and I'm going to share directly from our website and take you down the story of the School Garden Summit that took place in Denver. So we brought the School Garden Summit to Denver, April 2022. We had 425 attendees. And like any good summit, we had a great mix of workshops, lightning talks, affinity groups and Java-like groupings. We focused on young professionals and mentoring new folks in the field of garden-based ed. And we had a lot of peer learning where we had our attendees lead extracurriculars. If you do visit the website at another time, you could go deeper into seeing the agenda, the videos that were shared on the main stage. And this video here is a real great summary of what took place. You can get the feel and flavor of what happened at our summit. Who attended the summit last time and who do we expect to attend the summit in 2024 in San Diego? So the organizations, over half of our attendees came from nonprofits, and that's to be expected in our school garden support organization world. But then another strong showing came in through schools and school district entities, up to about 30%. And then after that was a mix of all different types of orgs that support school gardens. If you look at the breakdown of the ethnicities and the types of people that were coming, a little over half of our folks identified as Caucasian or white, and then the rest of the folks identified of other types of ethnicities. So we had a great representation of different folks that attended, as well as 43 different states from across the country attended. And if we look at the feedback, it was very well received. 80s to 90% of folks gave high marks and 90% said they want to come back next year. So to us, for our first summit that we put on in 2022, I felt it was a great success. And to go a little bit more into what happened, I'm going to share just a quick look at some of the imagery that took place in Denver. So we had great food. People were smiling, having fun. We focused with a lot of peer-to-peer sharing. Our main stage was mostly occupied by our peers sharing stories from their work. We had field trips and excursions. DJ Cavum, the eco hip hop artist down there, is one of our headlining for our banquet. Great learning was taking place in conference rooms. Another great keynote. We had Stephen Ritz, just wow the crowd. Great energy at our dinner party, and just learning and smiles throughout. This was a great participant who just brought country line dancing in extracurriculars, and people were literally dancing in the halls throughout our summit. He was infectious to get people dancing. So included with all the learning that happens, there was a lot of great fun and smiles tell a lot. If you have a summit and people are smiling, you're doing something right. So we're looking to repeat the same thing, and we're going to transition now. I'm going to pass the mic here to Lindsay Waugh, who's the Executive Director of the Sprouts Healthy Communities Foundation, who is the host of this summit, to share a little bit about what their foundation does, and also the kind of purpose and why do we have this summit. So Lindsay, thanks for sharing.
Thank you, John. And thanks for including all of those wonderful images. It's always nice as you're planning for the future to be able to celebrate some of the memory making and the impact of the first event. So my name is Lindsay Waugh. I serve as the Executive Director of the Sprouts Healthy Communities Foundation. We are the philanthropy for Sprouts Farmers Market, which is a natural and organic grocery store that is about 400 stores across 23 states. And we've been involved in the school garden movement since 2015. And our commitment and our passion has been around creating more capacity for the nonprofits, educators, and school districts that are working on the front lines of the school garden movement. And so 4 years ago, we had a vision of what it would be like to bring together the school garden community to create a national gathering so that the isolation that individual school garden nonprofits or educators often feel could be transformed into an inspiring network of partners across the country. And so Sprouts Farmers Market and our foundation serve as the host partner for the summit event, which is a lot of fun. Our team members love to come out and volunteer. We also have our chefs from our company that come out and do some really wonderful, fresh, healthy food throughout the gathering. And we're really pleased to be able to put this event together in partnership with LifeLab and the School Garden Support Organization-Network. It's truly partnerships and us all working together that make this event possible. And I'd love to turn it over to Tristana to share a little bit about the network's involvement.
Great, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. So my name is Tristana Perkle, as I shared with everyone, and I'm with the School Garden Support Organization-Network. We're a peer-to-peer learning network with the goal of growing, sustaining, and elevating a movement of equitable garden-based education. We work with school garden professionals at any level, from the individual school up to the state, regional, national level. Supporting those who work at, just one school to hundreds of school gardens. And we're the only national network for school gardeners. And so as a result, an opportunity to be a part of and support the only national gathering, the only national in-person gathering for school gardeners, is such an incredible fit, as well as opportunity for us to meet and get to know all of the other members in our network. We have about 4,600 folks on our within our network, and the opportunity to gather with a couple hundred of them is fantastic. And so as a partner in this summit, in this amazing event, the piece that we really bring and that we are, helping to organize are all of the networking opportunities. So various ways for you all to collide with one another, get to know each other through different ways that you identify or work, whether it's your region or your role, your organization type, creating those different opportunities during the summit, and then collecting them and helping you to continue those connections after the summit, so that it's not just a one-time opportunity just that weekend, but it really continues, and it continues to support you in your work and your relationships, forevermore. Also with the educational opportunities, we seek to really document kind of the key themes. We're just as much of a participant in the summit as you all are, trying to understand, what is everyone talking about? What are some of the key themes that are emerging from presentations, from workshops, from, conversations on the bus, and to create peer learning communities out of that, to create additional best practice resources out of that, to host webinars. We just closed our 6-month series of highlighting presenters from the 2022 summit. So also bringing the great learning that happens at the summit to our whole network, because we know not everyone can join. So those are just some of the ways in which the SGSO network is a part of this event. And it was a really great opportunity, and we're excited to be there in 2024.
Thank you, Tristana. And I will say it's been real exciting to see these webinars that have been themed and presented from folks that presented at the summit, and see these stories retold through the webinar format. And just to kind of me being able to have been at the 2022 summit and then see these same titles getting developed into the webinar series has been great as a way of extend the learning. So we look forward to doing the same thing in 2024 as well. So we're going to transition into the 2024 story. What's going to take place? How much does it cost? Where, when, dates, all of those things. But before I do that, I'll just take a little pause again to introduce myself. I'm John Fisher. I'm the Director of Programs and Partnerships at LifeLab. We're a nonprofit organization based in Santa Cruz, California. For 43 or 44 years, we've been bringing learning to life in the gardens in Santa Cruz County and beyond. And so we do have a lot of expertise and experience in training educators. And that is one area where we partner in being in partnership of the summit. So I'm part of the core planning team, and my coworker, Whitney Cohen, who is our education director at LifeLab, is a co-leader of the education and engagement team, and crafting up the agenda and the content that we share. So we're helping in the agenda creation and the content flow. And it's been really great. This is actually, the summit was a dream of mine, always thinking, gosh, there's no national gathering of school gardens. And meeting with Lindsay and being able to bring this to fruition has been a real great experience. So moving on to 2024, we will be in San Diego the weekend of March 15th through 18th, an incredible hotel venue perched over the Pacific Ocean. We'll be there in March, which the weather should statistically be great. We're looking, well, the price point for our summit will be the same as it was in 2022, $400 for the 4 days. And the hotel rooms are being discounted from Sprouts. The hotel rooms are normally $245. And through the generous support of Sprouts, we're able to bring the room rates down to $190 per room. So that's what we're looking at for our price points to engage at the summit. And we're going from 425 attendee to up to 550 attendees for our 2024 summit. So I'll continue to share elements of what we've got in the works and how to engage. If you do have questions, put them in the Q&A, and we'll be able to answer those at the end of the presentation. So here's a draft overview of what our summit flow looks like. So coming in late day Friday, kicking us off Saturday, general sessions, field trips, workshops, peer-led optional activities in the evening. Sunday, more of the same. Something new we're bringing to the summit is demo cooking classroom and outdoor lessons. So we're going to have educators share different examples of the way they teach kids, either in a cooking classroom or out in the garden, and then have some sort of dinner reception. And then on Monday, we'll have a half day. So that's kind of the flow for the week or weekend. Some nice elements that this hotel provides to us that we didn't have in Denver is there is ample outdoor space. Many of our presenters wanted outdoor space, but frozen ground on a city corner in Denver wasn't the great outdoor space that they were envisioning. But this hotel does have a lot of turf and landscaped and grass areas. So we are going to bring some of the learning at this summit outdoors, which is exciting. We also we've already started investigating different places we'll go on field trips. We're going to bring a larger flow of field trips to our summit agenda. And these are some of the spaces down there on the bottom left-hand corner is Olivewood Gardens. And then Darnall Charter School has an incredible cooking and garden program. And then that's me, that's my head next to the largest cauliflower I've ever seen in my life, which was at Olivewood Gardens. I just had to include that. I laid down on the ground and just like, this is the largest cauliflower I've ever seen. So you might get to experience the largest cauliflower that you've ever seen in your life if you make it to the summit. So an overview, if you want to be a presenter, is all at our calls for presenters page, which is this web link up here. High-level summary proposals are due by July 31st. Folks will be invited to present by the end of August, and then you'll confirm your participation by the middle of September. Those that are chosen to present will receive a $100 discount. And we are looking for lifting voices of those that should be presenters. So what I mean by that is there's someone in your community. Is there an organization that is taking great strides? Is there a government person, someone that's in your state, or someone that you know that's in a national leadership position that is doing great work for school gardens? We want to find them. We do have a great network of these folks, but obviously our network doesn't touch everyone that's in the world of school gardens. So we do want to lift the voices of those that deserve to be at our summit. So please spread the word and reach out to us if you have any ideas of any inspiring stories that you may have come across. That would be great to share on our summit stage or in our workshops. We do have a great team. This is our Ed and Engagement team of past summit attendees and new to our summit folks. And this is our team that's going to be crafting our mix of content. So we've got lots of different types of people from across the country. These are the folks that will be combing through all of the presentation proposals and then creating our agenda. So just wanted to share that once again, this is a peer-created event, and so we're calling upon our peers in the school garden world to create our agenda, and that I think is something that makes our summit special. I'm going to now share from our website the types of presentations that we're looking for people to submit to be presenters. So on our website, our calls for presenters pages outlines the dates and processes and has the links to the applications. For each application, there is a link where you can preview the questions to know what's going to be asked of you before you go and fill out your online form. I do want to put out a little note. If you do submit a proposal or a scholarship, the form starts with the word and it says, enter your organization, but then there's subtext that says, put your name in there. So the very first thing is you start engaging in our form, ask for your org, but we really want you to put in your first and last name. And it says that in the subtext. So just a little note of clarification as you move forward. So we're asking folks to put in suggestions or proposals for 60-minute workshops. And these workshops some of them will have the opportunity to be presented outdoors. And then the rest of them will be in your standard kind of workshop space, slide screen projector type conference room in a hotel. New this year, we're going to have 45-minute sessions that are either demoing a lesson, one of your favorite go-to lessons for a K-12 audience. And then we're also going to be setting up cooking classrooms. So if you're involved in nutrition ed and cooking programs, our partner with the Sage Garden Foundation in San Diego, they run a lot of classroom cooking programs across California. They're going to help us with a core of volunteers to set up 8 cooking classrooms. So if you have a great lesson that you want to present at the summit, they will partner with you to make sure you have what you need, including getting the materials sourced, washed, getting any tools and equipment up to a limit of what you're going to use and need, and then getting the compost and the materials removed from the room. So a really neat opportunity to have demonstration lessons. Lightning talks were very successful at our last summit. So a lightning talk is a 5-minute talk on a particular story or topic. And our lightning talks, the bulk of them are presented in concurrent lightning talk sessions where there'll be 5 or 6 short talks in a 1-hour session, and we'll have multiple rooms of those going on concurrently. But of those lightning talk presenters, you can nominate yourself to be considered to be on the main stage, and that's where we get our peer voice shared on the main stage. So if you do have a great story, or you've been wanting to present to 500 people and share the power of your work, you can nominate yourself for that, and our ed engagement team will look through those proposals, and we'll end up with folks that will be on the main stage. And if you do end up on the main stage, there's coaching and rehearsal as part of that process. And then the last 2 areas that we're looking for proposals to be submitted are short courses, which are deeper dive up to 4-hour workshops that will take place during the same time that field trips will be going out and about in San Diego. So we know that everybody doesn't necessarily need to go on a bus tour to see school gardens. And so short course topics will take place at the hotel. And so if you have a strong workshop topic or topic you'd like to discuss and share, the short course would be a space to do that. And then our field trips are more for our local teams, obviously, the folks in San Diego that have great programs to share. And so we're going to have a call for those. These 2 calls are not live on the website yet. They open up next Monday, but all the other calls that I mentioned, the applications are open and they're due on July 31st. And to close out this section, these are the themes in which we operate and share. So we do ask when you put in your call that your topic relates to one of these themes. Could relate to more than one, but these are the areas that we've recognized school garden support professionals like to operate and talk about. So if you do have any questions related to the calls for presenters, there is a web link with email address on there that you can reach out to us to get your questions answered. So we're gonna move forward. We got a couple more slides to share. Let me share the right screen. And that is this screen. Here we go. All right. So a lot of questions were related to our scholarships in the registration for this Q&A webinar. And on our website, which is listed right there, and it's on the navigation bar on our website, our scholarships prioritize scholarships for Black, Indigenous, Latinx, and people of color. We're also taking into consideration other identities and life experiences that are underrepresented or marginalized in the field of garden ed. And we also prioritize scholarships for young professionals. And we define those folks as those 18 to 30 years old with 5 or fewer years working in the field of garden-based education. And then so you might ask, well, what does a scholarship include? So we have 2 different categories that are award levels. So one is full registration waiver. So your full cost of the summit is completely waived. And then the other level is full registration along with the travel stipend, which equates to the value of $750. I will share that at our last summit, 25% of our attendees came on some sort of scholarship. 20% of them came on a full scholarship, along, and then many of them with the travel stipend included. But yeah, over 20, it was like 25.4% of our people came with a discounted scholarship package. So we do have funds available to get those that may not have the budget or capacity to get to the summit there. So scholarships are due at the end of June 28th. We'll notify folks in mid-July. And then we ask folks to accept the scholarship by doing an early registration process by July 31st. And you might be asking, wait, that's kind of early. The summit's still really far away. And we learned our lesson last time. We will be having a round 2 of scholarships as we continue to promote the summit. There will be less scholarships available. So if you're here right now learning about the scholarship and you want to apply, you should apply now. Your chances will be much greater than coming in the second chance scholarship round. But if you do come across someone after June 28th that you feel would be a great candidate for the scholarships, there will be an opportunity communicated about how others could take advantage of the scholarships. All right, so I think hopefully we shared everything that you wanted to know about the summit. But we'll open it up to questions. And I know that Tristana was looking through the chat. If there were any questions shared, she can share them out. Or if anybody wants to throw something in the chat, you can do that right now. And then don't leave, because before we leave, I have some homework for you all.
Great. Yes, there was one kind of quick clarifying question around the amount for the hotel room. So it is indeed $190 per room per night. So just wanted to clarify that in case that wasn't clear for anyone else. And then we got a question, are we allowed to drive ourselves to the garden field trip in case we want to do both some workshops and some garden tours?
Yeah, so the idea of tagging the bus in a car, we don't recommend because it adds a logistical challenge for all parties. And then we wouldn't want people to jump in and out of a short course. The idea of a short course is to have a deeper dive and be there as a participant. And for the folks that are hosting the short courses, we do not want to allow the expectation of folks coming in and out of their short course experience. So we would not recommend doing both of those things. So we will have buses. And the idea is everybody will get on the bus and travel as one group. People will be fed at site along with snacks. And so not having to add that level of logistics. It's not what we're not looking to have that happen.
Great, totally get that. Let's see, can we apply for scholarships for 2 people from our site?
Yes, you can have more than one person from an organization apply for a scholarship. You will have to fill out 2 separate scholarship applications to do that.
Sounds good. And how many presentation proposals can a person who is collaborating with other organizations submit?
There's no cap on that. Last year, some organizations put in up to 3 proposals. And a lightning talk on top of that. And there was an organization that had 3 or 4 people coming. And so they were sharing expertise levels across, the diversity of their team that was coming. We wouldn't expect to then grant a proposal for more than one organization. Last year, we had 140 presentations put in for 50 spots. So we do have, statistically, you'll be under 50% of getting your proposal accepted. So if you truly do want to present, putting in 2 presentations, proposals is not a bad idea, but would not expect to have both of those accepted because so many people are excited to share their voice, and we want to have the voices of our summit have a diversity of different program models.
Great, thank you. we got another question here in the chat. Is the scholarship open for foreigners as well?
The scholarship is opener for foreigners as well. Last summit, we did have people from other countries apply. I do not believe we granted them last year, is from what I remember. I think our scholarship committee put an emphasis on having our scholarships awarded to those that were from the United States. And we haven't fully framed up. We're building the criteria for our scholarship selection based on what we did last year, but it's not solidified. So I don't want to say for sure we're not going to let a foreign scholarship get awarded. Last year, last summit, people did apply from other countries.
Thank you. I'm not seeing any other questions right now. So if folks have some other questions brewing, please put them in the Q&A section. But we have answered all of our questions so far.
Great. And I want to thank the SGSO network for hosting this webinar and giving the opportunity to share what the summit will look like and get some of the questions answered. It was also great to see many of you that registered for this presentation were new to the summit. So this is our goal, is to share this with folks that we haven't reached out to yet or that haven't had the opportunity to attend. So please share the summit with your colleagues and those that you think would benefit from attending. And I will leave you with your homework.
We actually just got one more question, if you don't mind.
Sure, yeah.
Is it possible to come for part of the summit, or do we need to commit to Friday through Monday?
Great question. We do just have one ticket open, so it's for the whole summit. We haven't done individual days. I do know that last time some people, they had to leave and get back to their site or their space at home on Monday, and some people did leave Sunday night. Monday is just a half day, but we don't have half day or partial summit rates. It's one ticket for all days. Great,
thank you.
So your homework is to go to our website, go to our homepage, schoolgardensummit.org, click on this 1-minute video, and you can get a great feel of what's to come in 2024 at the Growing School Garden Summit. Thanks a lot for joining us, and we hope to see some of you in San Diego in March. Take care.
Thanks so much, John. Thanks so much, Lindsay. Thanks for sharing. I'm all about the summit. We're so excited. Have a good rest of your day, everybody.